This video title promises a lot, and now I want to make you a bigger promise. By the end of this video, you're going to know more about YouTube automation than 99% of the fake gurus. And if you apply this knowledge, you can make as much money as you wish. I know this because I've been obsessed with YouTube as a platform for over 2 years. And when I say obsessed, I mean I bought every course, spent thousands of euro, made over 100 videos, and consumed every piece of content I could. And none of that compares to what I'm about to show you. I can't take full credit for this. The fundamental ideas here are heavily inspired by this guy, Bono. I have absolutely no idea who he is. I mean, the man uses a profile picture of a Prison Break character, for God's sake. But I learned more from his insights in 30 minutes than I did from 2 years of obsession and thousands of euro worth of courses. And in this video, I'm giving you my version of his words. This video is going to talk about 3 things. The first thing is attention. What type of attention you want, where to find it, how to get it, and how to keep it. The second thing we're going to do is help you develop a strategy and a plan. And the third aspect is revealing the secret channel I'm applying all of these insights to. Okay, we're good. Let's say you're not tied down to one specific channel, but you know you want to make lots of money. If that's you, good. In this game and lots of other games, you can make a lot of money. You just need attention. You can disagree with this if you want, but I believe capturing attention is the highest paid skill on the planet. I think this because in the past, companies used to build a product and try and capture attention. If you did that, you've made it. If you didn't, you're down a lot of time and a lot of money. These days, the order is reversed. You capture the attention, build a product, be it your own or use somebody else's, and because you already have that attention, the chances of you succeeding are much higher. There are 3 types of attention. 2 of them you don't want. Take a look at this graph. Attention on the y-axis, time on the x-axis. People's attention is perishable. This means that if a strategy is not well designed, a viewer or a subscriber can forget about you and never come back. Now take a look at this graph. You have a lot of attention for a day, but thereafter you return to square one again. And then you start that process all over again. Yeah, this one's close to the bone with me. Kind of wish I knew what I'm talking about right now earlier. And finally, I want you to take a look at this graph. This is where you capture the attention for the longest time possible, but not at all costs. So some people do end up dropping off along the way, but in general, you're farming long-term attention. This is the type of attention we want. Not just because of those recurring views, but those recurring views build trust. And trust is what gives you the opportunity to monetize your audience through multiple channels and products. In summary, it's way better to have 100 dedicated users than 10,000 one-time users. Didn't make sense. One-time viewers. So now you know your end goal for long-term success. You want to capture the attention of a targeted group of individuals for a long period of time. You might have a specific goal like hitting 50K per month, but this encapsulates what you need to get there. So that's attention. Now we're going to talk about how we're going to capture it. And this involves a strategy and a plan. Majestic. Right, before we form your strategy and your plan, you need to know exactly what they are and how they differ. And this is very important. It did take me a while to get my head around this, but I think I've come up with an explain like I'm 5 version. A strategy is how you aim to capture the attention. A plan is what you do to execute that strategy and measure its effectiveness. Let's use something I have no experience with as an example, running a marathon. Let's say my goal is to finish this race in under 4 hours. My strategy is how I'm going to do this. I think about this before the race. And I determine that the best strategy for me is to do the first half of the race in 1 hour 50 minutes and then the second half of the race in 2 hours and 9 minutes. Yeah, that maths is right. And then the plan happens during the race. It's me checking my watch to make sure that I'm running at a pace good enough to execute on my strategy. Not only that, but it's also my plan's job to measure how the strategy is going. Like if I'm really tired because I did the first half way too fast, I can adjust my strategy required to reach my goal. A strategy can be changed, a plan cannot. Okay, let's talk about strategy. The goal in this example was to finish the race in under 4 hours. In the case of YouTube, the goal is to capture the attention of a targeted group of individuals for a long period of time. To do this, we need a strategy that proves we can achieve that goal. With this, we're not aiming for perfection, we're aiming for progress. What we want here is a proof of concept, or in other words, a concept that attracts recurring attention. Right now I'm watching a show called Gangs of London. Gangs of London promises 60-minute episodes, gang-related issues, an amazing storyline and lots of violence. That's its strategy, it works, and they don't change it. Imagine if halfway through the series they decided to do a 20-minute episode where everybody was on the beach laughing and joking and nobody was brutally murdered. I just stop watching. The more predictable your content is, the more recurring viewers you're going to have. Now let's apply the same concept to YouTube. Your videos consist of a format and a recipe. Format is the most basic element of it. It's generally the length of your video. Different lengths correspond to different formats, but the more repeatable your length is, the more likely you're going to get recurring attention. With your format alone, it's pretty hard to stand out from other channels, but that's what your recipe is for. Let's take Mr. Beast for example. Loads of people have seen his videos and many have tried to copy his format and recipe. His format are videos between 8 and 25 minutes long, and his recipe is high-paced energy and crash-bang-wallop type editing. And there are many people doing the exact same thing and they're not getting the same views. They're not getting the same views because there is one other ingredient to his recipe that they're not hitting. Mr. Beast spends millions of dollars on every video. He has created an original ingredient in his recipe that acts as a massive barrier to entry, which makes him almost untouchable. Take another channel, Kurzgesagt. I really hope I pronounced that right. Its format are 9 to 12 minute long videos. Its recipe are animated videos in a certain style and very well researched and documented. And they get millions of views as a result. What happens if they deviate from this format? Well, as you can see here, they get 10x less views. But the ingredient to their recipe that separates them from the rest of the channels trying to copy them is the fact that they produce Hollywood-level animations that are extremely hard and expensive to do. Both them and Mr. Beast have an original recipe that has an incredibly high barrier to entry. They have a moat around their content that very few people can cross. So when it comes to your strategy, deciding on a format that will make your content predictable will get you recurring attention. But coming up with an original recipe with a high barrier to entry will make your moat so big nobody can touch you. Your moat can be anything. It can be your personality, or it can be something that you have that others don't have access to, like life experience or a place or money or a skill. If you don't have one, find one. That's your strategy. Next, let's get on to the plan. Your plan has one job: to give you data. This data will help you measure the effectiveness of your strategy. The results of this will help you iterate on your strategy and prove you have a concept that works. You execute, you measure, and then you repeat 5 to 10 times. Take this hypothetical strategy for a YouTube automation channel. I'm going to leave a couple of seconds for my magical editor to pop this hypothetical example on screen. Thank you, Daniel. So what you see here is the strategy. The plan is to create 10 videos while changing one ingredient of the recipe. The reason you're only changing one ingredient is because you want to definitively measure the impact of that ingredient. And you do that by keeping everything else the same. You need to take emotions out of the equation here and minimize randomness. That's why the plan can't change. You know you've done a good job when you have data telling you that the strategy works or it needs to change, and in what direction it needs to go in. And now that we have one concept that works, we can repeat this concept to get recurring views whilst trying to find new ones, so we can get longer term attention from various concepts. So that's the background for the strategy and the plan. Now let's apply this to a new secret channel I'm starting. Right now our budget for this project is $1,000 and each video costs $100 to produce. Very convenient maths. This is our strategy. Our format is between 4 and 6 minutes. Our recipe involves high-level entertainment and character-driven animations. The third ingredient is the idea and the concept. So because we have a 10 video runway, our plan is to post 10 videos and only change the ideas and the concept for each video. That way, by the end of this plan, we'll have some data helping us identify a proven concept that can work in the long term. We execute, we iterate, and we repeat until we have several concepts that we can use over and over again. Now you might be asking, oh, that's great, but what niche are you doing this in? And this is the wrong question to ask. Let's say I told you I was starting this channel in the soccer niche. Great, I post a video like this. Norwich versus Sunderland pre-game match interviews. And then the next video I post is the 20 best goals of all time. Technically they're both in the same niche of soccer, but they're completely different audiences. Video 1 is targeting people who follow soccer very closely, and video number 2 is targeting people who just understand soccer. One is a very small market, the other is a very big market. And the last thing you want to be doing is building several different audiences and 7 different attention markets for the same channel, because that won't get long-term attention. Being successful with YouTube automation in the long term requires you to think deeper than niches. Think about it this way. What's the most important thing when building an audience? It's attention. And because we have different audience types, we have different attention markets. And this is where you should be focusing the question. What attention market do I want to target? I'll dig into this more in the future after I go through a few more rabbit holes, but I think that's enough right now to get your brain cells firing. And also, I'm coming to the latter range of my format. If you do want to find out more specific details on what my new channel is and follow along with how it progresses and how the plan ends up working out, put your email in down below and I'll be sending it updates from time to time. But for now, congratulations. You now know more about YouTube automation than the majority of people, which makes you an expert. In my book anyway. That's all from me. We'll see you in the next one. Slán.